I wanted to prove I wasn't like my dad. I had a lot of shame around that. And I think a lot of people can use pain to bury them, or they can use it to motivate them. And that's what I did all the time, because I had a lot of pain I dealt with. The time is now. If you have that idea, if you have any inkling to do something different with your life, don't wait for conditions to be perfect, because conditions will never be perfect. There's always going to be an excuse or a reason. Your imagination will find that you shouldn't be doing it right now. But the time is now.
Hey, JB here in the Wolf's Den, where it just gets wild sometimes. It's going to be one of those days. Got an awesome guest today, right? I have a really accomplished woman here. And the last woman I had on was really accomplished well in the pharmaceutical industry. This one is a bit different in nature. Someone that's actually in the self-development space, has carved out a really, really nice niche in the marketplace, speaking to women that, and men too, I'm sure, but women that really get her message. And Mommy Millionaire, Cayla Craft, how are you? Nice to meet you.
I'm good.
All right.
Thank you.
So, wow, first I love the branding, Mommy Millionaire, right? So how'd you come up with that?
So I like to talk about the elephant in the room. I'm that type of person, and nobody likes to talk about money, especially as moms. And so it just went together, Mommy Millionaire. And it makes people so uncomfortable, which I like it.
Why do you think it does that?
Because people are trained at a very young age to not talk about money. Don't talk about how much you make. Don't talk about how much you want to make. Just don't talk about it. And when I was 23 years old, I worked as an ER nurse, and I got started in network marketing. And the number one thing that got me excited about it was they were talking about money. They were talking about the fact that you could have as much money as you wanted to have. And that was the first time I had heard that concept, and I was all in.
So in other words, you'd grown up with more of a scarcity mentality for money?
Oh yeah, money doesn't grow on trees. You have to work really hard to make money, a lot of that kind of stuff.
Where'd you grow up?
In Bakersfield.
Okay.
You know where that is? Yeah.
Unfortunately, I know, because I went to jail in Taft.
Oh my gosh. Yes, Taft. Yeah, I went to Taft
I've been
College.
everywhere, to the finest spots in the world, to jail in Taft. No, it's near Bakersfield, isn't it? Sort of?
Yep.
Sort of, kind of, right?
Oh yeah, it's right there. I went to Taft College. Yeah.
And, okay, so you went to Taft College. Okay, yeah. I used to look out longingly at Taft College one day when I'm free again, yeah. But anyway, so you grew up in Bakersfield. So what'd your dad do?
So my dad was actually a drug addict, and he was in jail for most of my life.
Okay. And
So,
your mom?
and my mom was a single mom, obviously, and she was a hairstylist. So,
My first wife was a hairstylist.
really, yeah,
So, okay, so you didn't grow up with money at all?
absolutely not.
Okay. So did you really struggle badly? Any brothers and sisters?
Yeah, I have a little brother, and then I have a stepbrother and a stepsister that are older than me. But no, we didn't have money. We went without a lot of times, and so, I remember when I was 8 years old, I broke my arm. And I was looking up at my mom, don't take me to the hospital, because
You knew it would be bills.
well, yeah, I was and I saw her struggle so much. And I remember that look of just shame, no mom should ever have to feel that way. And I remember at 8 years old thinking, I'm never going to feel that way, and I'm going to help moms never feel that way.
Wow.
And I used to think I was going to be a lawyer, but it turned out to be different.
That's really interesting. I think it goes to show just how self-aware kids are.
Oh, absolutely.
I remember being that self-aware. I remember my root experiences for money were at a very young age, where I knew my parents. I didn't grow up, thankfully, a bit more money than you, but still lower middle class. But, we had food in the fridge, you get basic needs. But I remember that same disempowered attitude. My parents with Depression era mentality. Money doesn't grow on trees. You have to work for every dollar you make. There's, and I watched my parents go without a lot of things that were sort of not necessarily basic luxuries. You know what I
Right.
mean? That other people would enjoy, right? So that was basically your life on steroids, it seems like.
Yes, absolutely. I would look at people, and I wanted to figure out a way to have that life. And it wasn't an extravagant life, but just they got to go on family vacations.
Sure.
We didn't have that. And
Right.
so I was I'm going to do whatever I have to do to be able to do that.
So can we talk about the elephant in the room? Okay, you're a very attractive woman. You are, right?
Oh, thank you.
You know, physically attractive, right? And obviously, it doesn't mean that much now that it's great to be attractive as an adult, but when you're younger, that's a great edge to have in junior high school and high school. No, seriously, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure you didn't grow up as an ugly duckling. You sound like you're probably beautiful your whole life, right? So did that, and the reason I asked that is my second wife was a beautiful lady.
Okay.
Grew up even poorer than you, I think, by like on welfare, the whole thing. And I saw how it impacted her so heavily, and her choice as a beautiful woman was to gravitate towards men with money. But it doesn't seem like you went that way at all. You went the opposite way. So it's interesting to me.
Yeah, absolutely not. I never looked to men to fix my problems, ever. Ever. That was, I don't know, I almost like was not a man hater, but like, I don't need you. I've always been very like independent.
Self-sufficient.
Yes. Like I will never like need anybody for anything.
You know, it's just think about that. Let's like just stop there, because I think it's really important for women and men to hear is that two people in a very, almost like very similar background, very pretty, growing up, no money, struggling. One looks around and says, I will never rely on a man for money. And the other one says, and I'm not even degrading my ex-wife anyway. I'm just saying that it's the belief you develop.
It's your paradigm.
It's a paradigm. That's not even a good or bad. I'm just saying that where someone develops a very self-regulating, where you are like, I'm going to go do it myself. Mm-hmm. Well, my ex, I think it's pretty obvious that she went a different route. Later on, though, she changed her approach to life and became professional, started making. But I think I'm talking about her teenage years and early and like 20. So, what do you think it was about you? Mm-hmm. It was obviously because, we're complex creatures, right? Mm-hmm. So you have one side who's a beautiful woman, you have that ability, but yet you have an overriding value, a belief that I'm self-sufficient. What do you think that was something your mother instilled in you? Is something you just got on your own core? What is it?
Yeah, I think you watch or you see and do what you do what you see. And I saw her work 12-hour days and not ask for help. You know what I mean? Like she worked 12-hour days, paid the bills. She still ended up in bankruptcy when I was 8 years old. Like, so I saw her work really hard and never have excuses. She always just found a way. And so I just modeled that basically.
Got it.
And she never obviously found her Prince Charming to come in and save the day. So to me, that wasn't even an option. Right.
Got it.
And I grew up in church, and my mom like would drop me off. And one of the things I just learned was that you have to guard your thoughts and don't say anything out loud that you don't want to be true for yourself.
All right, just hold that thought for one moment. We'll be back after a word for our sponsor. It's time to pay the bills. All right, guys, I love this. Ready? Raycon earbuds. Now, I have to say, for products like these, a picture or like, a demonstration, as they say, is worth 1,000 words. You know why I love these? I'll tell you why. They don't hurt my ears. All right, that's number one. Anything that hurts my ears, I'm not comfortable. I'm not using them for more than 15 minutes. I throw them away. Number two, they look awesome. These things look like they belong on the space shuttle. Check this out, all right? They're beautiful. They make you feel good. And I got to tell you something. I appreciate a product that's wrapped this way, the package. Look how much care was put into these headphones. I mean, they're really beautiful. It's like space-age technology, and I'll tell you this, right? Number three, they sound ridiculous. These things sound, I did the side-by-side taste test, by the way, or the sound test, right? I could not tell the difference between this and the top of the line other buds by the most expensive ones out there. These are a fraction of the price. They're beautiful. They convenient. They pair like you open it up, boom. I couldn't believe how easy it was to pair. It's a real pain in the ass sometimes, right? So to me, it's the perfect solution, okay, for having some way to listen to the music you love, the audiobooks you love, the audibles, right? Anything. And it's just like, no tangled wires, no obnoxious sounds to the outside. Well, you're in your own beautiful world with Raycon. I'm telling you, and again, they're so comfortable, it's almost ridiculous. Watch. So let's see, they're marked left and right here, which makes it cool, right? So you have left and, look, I'm just telling you, 2 seconds, boom. Just like that. Simple as that, all right? I'll tell you, now the music went on because they turn on. They feel great. They look great, and they're awesome. So we just chuck them over here so you don't hear the sound, okay? Raycon, and let me tell you this, ready? You won't believe the price. It's almost too good to be true, but the reason is, listen, they're very smart. They've working on the big picture here. Here's the story. You get 15% off your Raycon earbuds, okay? So go to Raycon, RAYCON.com/wolf. You get 15% off. Just trust me. Just check. I'm not telling you to buy it. Go to the website. Check it out. When you actually see these things, you'll get what I mean. Then when you try them for yourself, you will be blown away. That's a promise. Raycon.com/wolf. /wolf. Make sure you put the /wolf in. You get 15% off. Why not? It's truly the deal of the century. This is what we call a no-brainer. Raycon.com/wolf. All right, ready, guys? Here's a little joke for you, a quip for you. Ready? What do you call 100 lawyers at the bottom of the ocean? A good start. I genuinely feel that way. Except when it comes to these guys, because these guys have a whole different take on how you retain a lawyer. You know, the whole thing, oh, I have a lawyer, I'm a retainer. Like, that's a rich person statement, like, screw you, sue me, I get sued for a living, right? Well, imagine for the average person being able to have a law firm on retainer, your own law firm that stands up for you, that protects you, that reviews your contracts, right? And how much would that cost? $5,000 a month, $10,000. How about $89 a month? And how about they let you try it for free 1 month? What if you could experience this for a month, like free? Sign up, cost you nothing, and watch what it feels like and experience the surety, the safety, the comfort of having world-class lawyers at your back, reviewing your contracts, analyzing documents, protecting you for the long term. Sounds too good to be true, right? That's what I thought. And frankly, if it came from just, hey, Joe Blow and Mr. Young over here, they're going to do each of them how? They're going to start a law firm and charge you $89. Yeah, right. Let me see it happen. Guess what? These are the guys that started LegalZoom. The experts. They've done it before. They know how to deliver value. They know how to take the legal profession, come up with a new idea, and shake up, have a paradigm shift. This is step 2. So LegalZoom is great when you're just getting started out. You have no money. This is phase 2 here. Get some traction behind you. It's time now to hunker down and protect yourself. Have someone by your side, an advocate, so to speak, to help you drive to that next level of success and make sure that you don't get screwed along the way. That's what this company is about. You have to. It's almost an absolute must to ensure your own success over both the short and long term, to have an experienced legal counselor at your side, at your back. $89 a month? I would say no way. But because of the guys that invented LegalZoom, I say, yeah, way. They know how to scale. They know how to make things affordable. And I've used LegalZoom before. And I got to tell you, this is something I'm going to use. Powerful stuff. Better still, your first month, as I said, they're giving it to you for free because of me. Let me give you the exact details, right? Number 1, for my listeners only, your first month of Biz Counsel is free. When you go to bizcounsel.com/wolf, you have a dedicated business attorney at your back, at your side, helping you, protecting you, ensuring your success. That's bizcounsel.com/wolf. Also, in addition, you get 2 free contract reviews. Those are in-depth reviews, right? It's massive value. Think about a lawyer charging you $400 an hour to review a contract, right? That's what it costs, $400 an hour. Now you get 2 for free. Hello? You can't go wrong here. Give this a shot, and believe me, you'll be glad you did.
So at a very young age, and I thank God all the time that was instilled in me at a very young age to just only say out loud what I wanted to be true. Well, I wanted to be an independent woman. I wanted to rely on myself and nobody else. And so I would say those things out loud. And I mean, you could say looks, I grew up actually as a chubby kid. So it's funny. I always have kind of.
What age?
Till I was 18.
How chubby?
I mean, a little chubby.
Can we get some pictures here? Let's get some chubster pictures here, okay?
Okay, I'll find them.
I gotta find chubster pictures.
So I always thought I was.
Why my daughter is dying right now because she's a little chubster when because she's beautiful. She had a little baby fat. It's chubster phase,
Yeah. So I mean, I think I had this need to prove myself. If you grow up kind of I wasn't the most popular kid. And so you have this, I don't have money. I'm not that popular. And I just wanted to prove myself. I wanted to prove I wasn't like my dad. I had a lot of shame around that. And I think a lot of people can use pain to bury them or they can use it to motivate them. And that's what I did all the time. Because I had a lot of pain I dealt with. I always thought wow, there has to be something wrong with me. If he would choose drugs over me, there has to be something wrong with me.
Yeah.
And a lot of people feel that way, about certain things that went on in their childhood. And so I just really focused on using that pain to motivate me to build a life of my dreams.
Got it. Okay. So I'm a big believer in pain-based motivation strategy, right? Because I mean, I'm kind of like that myself. We always, move away from pain and move towards pleasure, right?
Right.
The very sort of old line self-development concept, right? But I think in your case, what interests me is you said something that kind of was like illuminating. You said to me, "I never want to say anything out loud." That I don't want to happen. So by saying it out loud, you almost begin the process of manifesting it in the real world. Is that the point you're trying to make?
Absolutely. Like my mom, when we were younger, if we said we were sick, like we would get a spanking. Like you weren't allowed to speak that kind of stuff out loud. So it trained me like, okay, so I would walk around and say, I'm the smartest woman in the room.
Sure.
Like,
Let me ask you this though. What about thinking those thoughts? So in other words, I understand that you don't want to publicly, show that to the world or say it, but how do you stop? Were you still thinking those thoughts, or you wouldn't let yourself? There's a difference between saying it out loud and thinking, controlling your actual your thoughts. That's a bit more difficult, I would think. So how do you feel about that?
well, knowing now, things are different, right? Thoughts are just things, and so I can change my thoughts at any time. But I definitely struggled with like some negative thoughts and some negative self-talk when I was younger. I didn't know how to deal with that. I just
Tough,
knew not to say it out loud, right?
Me too.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people do. And now, I mean, I still will have some things creep in, but I've really learned how to rewire my subconscious mind to serve me instead of.
I love it. So thoughts are things. That's a classic. What's that? It's the opening line to what? Think and Grow Rich.
Yes.
Thoughts are things, and thoughts are things, and powerful things at that, especially when mixed with purpose, right? A purpose mindset, right? You can achieve anything. So obviously, that's a book you read. Big impact.
I love Think and Grow
It's one of the
Rich.
best, right?
Yes.
Isn't it amazing, right? So you seem to have a very schooled mind when it comes to self-development, right? What was your do you have any formal training, or have you attended seminars like a Tony Robbins or stuff like that? Or because here's the thing with seminars, and it's like I think that like a Richard Bandler from NLP, who's a friend of mine, or Tony, right? And sometimes they state the obvious, but that's okay, I think, because the obvious isn't so obvious, and by stating it and putting a label on it, it makes it easy for other people to use or essentially insert. So what do you think about that?
Well, you have to give people a system to follow because people need systems. They need structure. So I actually never have been to a seminar like that.
Where'd you get your training from? Or just it's all intuitive?
Well, no, I've done a lot of reading, and I've gone like in self-studied NLP. So I've gone through a lot of like courses online to study NLP. Right. My formal training is as a nurse.
Right.
So,
okay. Well, so I get it.
Yeah, but so I know people, and I've spent the last 8 years coaching tens of thousands of women on helping them transform their mindset.
Got it. All right. So I get it. So it's basically what I think it's a combination of a few things here. Number one, you have a natural ability. You're intuitive, right? You understand. It's kind of you live. I just think you have a good instinct for this stuff. Then you did some early reading at NLP. Okay, and Dr. Bale's a good friend. I love NLP. I think it's great. I think there's kind of great people at it, people not so great at it, but the core of it I think is very pure, right?
Yeah.
And then you took that, and then you practically applied it, right? First, were you saying nursing or no? Would you say you were applying any of this stuff in nursing when you were dealing with patients, or not really? It was until you left that. What do you think?
No, I wasn't really applying it in nursing. I started once I got into network marketing 8 years ago, and that's really when I went all in. I read this book, T. Harv Eker, Secrets of a Millionaire Mind.
I had a feeling, yeah.
Yeah.
Because the two beliefs that you quoted about money were T. Harv Eker's famous ones. Yeah, I have a really good memory.
Yeah. And so I love that book. I have every single one of my students read that book. I'm like, that's the first thing you have to do is read that book. So I don't reinvent the wheel. I use tools and resources to help people, right? But that just gave me like so much hope. Like if he could do this, I could do this. If he could become a millionaire, I could become a millionaire.
Have you seen him live, T. Harv Eker? He's really.
I haven't. Like that's the funny thing is I haven't gone to a lot of these seminars.
I don't think he speaks much anymore, but he's one of the few people I really enjoy listening to. It's just funny. I mean, like he gets people to stand up, sit down, stand up, sit down.
That's so smart to do.
Yeah, and his whole thing is like your parents said, "Does money grow on trees? Money's the root of all evil." The beliefs about money, right? And it's true. So okay, I get it. So you're sharp. You're a quick. I get that. You're a quick mind. You're quick on the update. How'd you do in school?
I did good. I always got straight A's.
I figured. Yeah. Okay. Right. So you have an intellectual, right? Okay. Great. So
I'm a learner. I love learning.
I can see. You went to nursing school. And how was that?
I went to nursing school.
Why?
I was a charge nurse by the time I was 21 because the high school that I went to, it was in one of the poorer parts of town, and they had an academy where if you went through it, you could become a nurse basically by the time you were 20. So because you start taking credits in high school. So for me, I heard there was a nursing shortage and you'll always have a job. So for me, my mind is always choose safety because we're in survivor mode. And I was always like experiencing uncertainty in my life, especially with my dad in and out and stuff.
I get it.
So I craved that. And I got started nursing, and then I was 21, and I was a leader of all these old people that were, listening to me, and I thought, they look miserable. They're unhappy. Something's got to change in my life, because if I keep doing what I'm doing right now at 21, I'm going to be unhappy like them in 10 years, right? So I started to do a lot of personal development work. And then at 23, I found network marketing and went full force into that and became a millionaire a couple years later.
Tell me about that. So what was the first network marketing company you were affiliated with? Just one? Well, the first and last. Was it?
Health and wellness. It's a health and wellness company.
Called?
Isogenics.
Okay.
Yeah. So what I did was I had no network because I grew up in Bakersfield. It's kind of like a small town, and people, I don't know.
All from Bakersfield.
Right. Yeah. And it was right at the beginning of like when social media was getting like big for marketing and stuff like that. And so I just capitalized on the social media aspect and grew my team. So I still like make money off of that company, and I have a huge team that is all over the world that does that.
So Isogenics is a supplements, is it?
Yeah. It's 70 different health and wellness supplements. So we have like protein shakes, energy drinks, vitamins, skin cream.
Okay.
It's anything. It's easy.
And okay, so you started with Isogenics, right?
Yep.
And is that the first? And you're still there? You never went with another one?
Yep.
That's pretty rare, by the way. Most people jump from network marketing to network
I wouldn't call myself an opportunist. I'm more of like, this model works.
You believed in it too, I think, right?
100%.
The products?
Yep. I believed in the products, and I believed in the compensation plan. And I knew a lot of people could make money.
What was the
doing it.
compensation plan?
Well, the compensation plan is basically you get paid 6% on everything underneath you. So that was huge. So no matter if you brought them in or if your best friend's friend brought them in,
How many levels down?
Unlimited. So that was like the key, because a lot of MLMs, they'll stop you at level 4, level 6. This is unlimited, and so that's huge.
Okay. Okay, let's not get caught up in MLM.
Yeah.
It's very common because I know there's all these safety measures. I know the industry.
They cap you at $13,500 a week, but then you get the chance to restart.
That's fine.
Anyway.
I get it. Doesn't matter. No, it's good. So you're in a good. No, I think it's a great company.
Yeah.
Everything because there's some MLMs that are kind of shady, but they're not around for a long time.
No, yeah, this company's been around for almost 20 years.
It's a real company, so that's fine. Okay, great. So I'm trying to really get an understanding of who you are, because you interest me greatly. Okay, because I think that it's not. I think there should be more women doing what you're doing right now, spreading a message like you're spreading. So I'm trying to get to the bottom of what makes you who you are here. And it seems like it's a combination of let me get it right up to this point now, right?
Okay, yeah, let's hear if you got it right.
Fast on the uptake, quick on the uptake. Intellectual, right? Grew up with sort of a disempowered financial background, but with a mother who led you to believe that you have to rely on yourself and your own wits and your own hard work. So you weren't looking for handouts at any point in your life, right? And so you're sort of self-guided in a sense how you go out, and you're not looking for approval from the outside to say you're all right. It's all about internal approval, right? Is that how you are pretty much?
Absolutely. I mean, and I tell people this all the time, like when you've been hurt so much by the one person that is supposed to love you, which was my dad. I mean, you remember him slamming the door in my face when I was 16 saying, go away. That nobody else can hurt me. Right. And so I have no problem with rejection. And that's kind of like my mindset. Like, no is right now.
Sure. It's interesting because, again, it's exactly like my second wife. Like, her dad was the biggest, like a real, like a louse, basically. Not drugs, but just gambling. Horses.
Well, that's an addiction,
same
too.
thing. You know what I'm saying? Just blew out, left them, would come, never picked her up. Like, you disowned her, right? So it really interests me how people with very similar backgrounds take radically different approaches to life.
Well, me and my little brother are very different.
Tell me.
He's a ranch hand, and he has like 5 DUIs. Very, very different than me. Like, just very different. We don't even really talk.
How much do you think of that is genetic versus environment? What do you think? Do you think it's genetics? You were born with a different set of opportunities genetically? Do you think it's that some early root experiences that something happened to them, or just you think it's just random?
I think it's environment. I think we actually pass down our thoughts and our negative thinking generation after generation. So I do think that sometimes you're born with, the old generation's way of thinking, and that's okay. That's not going to inhibit me. But what he did, because he was a boy, so he was constantly looking for male's approval, and he didn't ever have that, right? And so his environment was much different than me. And me as a woman, I saw my mom. Yes, of course, I wanted my dad to love me, but my mom loved me, and she was the most important figure in my life. So I think that radically changed the way that both of us ended up.
I totally agree with the second half. So the second half makes perfect sense to me.
Okay.
Sense. The first half doesn't quite make sense to me.
With the
encoded into your DNA. I mean, I read a book many, like 40 years ago called Hannah and the Clan of the Cave Bears, and they talk about the Cro-Magnons meeting the Neanderthals and how the Neanderthals had this special part of their brain where the memories were encoded from generation to generation, right?
Yeah.
But that was a book about the Cro-Magnons.
Well,
explain to me how that would work.
Okay. Well, I don't know the science behind it.
No, intuitively. No, you have a feeling.
But here's what I know is that if you don't break the cycle, then it's going to just keep going generation after generation, right? So like my mom's mom was an alcoholic. She died of cirrhosis at a very young age because she was a victim of her life. My mom kind of has the same like thinking, the negative kind of just thinking about her. And if I wouldn't have broken the cycle, my kids would probably have ended up the same way. So do you see what I'm saying? Like you have to start changing what we're doing now.
I see what
for
you're
the
saying.
next,
But I don't see how that relates to the genetic aspect of passing down. You know what I mean? I wish, because it's an interesting thought like that. Are you being passed down? Actually, the second part, you're okay. So your real world interpretation makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah.
So
I was listening to Dr. Joe Dispenza, and he talks a lot about that. I can't explain the science.
I gotta have him on
behind
my podcast.
You absolutely 100%, because he actually has a book called Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. That's another book I always give to people, because he talks about how it's in our cells. So I don't know the science behind it. I'm just like,
because I'm like a science nerd. Yeah.
You need to,
and I'd love to have him on there. So let's keep going about you, because I think you're a really authentic person. So when you say something that doesn't make sense to me, I want to know more about it.
Yeah.
Because the second part makes total sense to me. I think that what you're saying here, correct me if I'm wrong, is that the impact of sort of like a negative father figure would have on a young girl versus a young boy. They're very different.
It is different.
Right, and I agree with that 100%. So, and there's probably a lot of other 1,000 other things involved as well. There's genetics for alcoholism, there's environmental triggers, right? Who knows what could be the crowd you hang up with. You drop someone into Bakersfield, they grow up one way, you drop them into, Beverly Hills, they're probably worse off. But anyway, the point is that there's a lot of things involved, right?
Absolutely.
So you go to this negative marketing company, and you have
the network marketing.
What is it called?
Network marketing.
Network?
Yeah.
What do you call it?
You said negative marketing.
Network marketing. Yeah. Did I say net? No, I said net. Did I say negative?
Yeah.
Did I really?
It's okay.
I was just like, call a Freudian slip. Sorry about that. No. Wow, did I really? Network marketing company, right? So you go to this network marketing company.
Yeah.
And do you succeed straight away or?
Absolutely.
Okay, right at the gate.
Mm-hmm. Within 6 months, I was making 6 figures.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And was that rare for that company? Or was it typical?
Well, during that time, that was kind of like the beginning of their momentum wave. Mm-hmm. And so we came in, and a ton of us, especially on my team, started making 6 figures within the first, couple of years.
And then you, at a certain point, decide that now that you have some success under your belt, it probably, your beliefs, building your beliefs, you start getting more, empowered with your thinking. Is there a certain point, is there a moment where you say, you know what, I want to really go way beyond just making money. I want to really empower women all over the world. Was there a moment for that?
When I was 26 and I became a millionaire, I really wanted other people around me to become millionaires. And so I focused on that in my company. And then I thought, okay, I'm so limited here. If I just focus in on this company, my impact is, where's the ripple effect, right? And so I was like, I gotta branch out. And so then I started becoming a business strategist, and I went around to some businesses like a Pilates studio, and I helped them grow their business because I wanted to see what I was really capable of. So I said, I'm just going to try some things on and see what I like. And yeah.
With social media?
I helped them with their social media and with their strategy about how to get more customers in the door. And I realized, okay, I really know what I'm talking about here. And so it kind of helped me build my
shocked
belief.
Yourself, right?
Yeah, it did. And I did it, I charged just a very small amount because I was like, I want to make sure I know how to do it. Yeah.
When you said you became a millionaire, what does that mean exactly?
So
$1 million of cash in the bank,
No.
or a million? What does it
No,
mean?
so that was just $1 million in commission, but that's what you're named in the company. And that name really shaped everything for me because I never thought that I would, like, if I would have stayed just as a nurse, it would have taken me so much longer to have made $1 million in my lifetime, right?
So you earned $1 million in gross commission.
Yes, in
and
3
the term
years.
there is a millionaire.
Yep.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of definitely millionaire. Liquid
I know,
millionaire. Real
people-
estate has so many different. So, okay,
Yeah.
but the point is you're making really good money, right? Right? You're very comfortable now.
Yeah.
Right? And what year is this?
Okay, so now I'm in my 8th year.
But how long ago is it from?
Oh, that was 3rd year.
How long ago from today? How many years back?
You're so analytical. You got to know everything.
I am. I do. I'm trying to know what I'm doing.
5 years ago.
There's a reason I asked
Yep.
now, because now I'm
5 years
asking.
ago.
Now I'm going to ask you. Tell me about your husband.
Yep.
So obviously you knew him before. You're married for 11 years. You
Yep.
said so. 6 years before this, you already met him. What was he doing? What's his?
Okay, so we have an interesting story because we met and we got married when I was 21 and he was 19. So we were super young.
You robbed the cradle.
Yeah, a little bit. And like we had no money when we got married. I mean, it was like I had fake flowers on my wedding. Okay, it was like embarrassing. And
My first wedding too, by the way.
and
A few
so
weddings ago.
just
Unfortunately.
how many times have you been?
Nah, just a
Okay,
few.
okay. Okay, so at
I'm
20,
doing the interviewing here. And by the way, my life's like public record. Everyone knows my life.
Yeah. So at 23, it was just 2 years after we had been married. I had a 1-year-old, and then I decided, okay, I'm going to be an entrepreneur. I'm going to leave nursing. And so he had a big issue with that because he worked for the family business, and he was like in the oil industry. Okay, so it's like a long story. I don't even know how to explain
What
he did.
aspect? Well, basically, there's oil down there.
It's all oil.
Why the air is so terrible, by the way.
His dad actually owns a corporation where it's 5 different companies that all like service the oil industry in some way, whether it's painting or seals.
So he grew up wealthy with money?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, but I wouldn't say it would be wealthy. Like he doesn't.
Comfortable.
Yes, he had a completely different life experience, but we weren't given money or anything.
And so he started off from scratch himself.
Absolutely. He had to start making $12 an hour working for his dad.
Okay, so and then what happened?
And then, so he was just like, our life plan was that, he was eventually going to take over the family business and, we'd get into real estate and we'd become a millionaire someday.
Sure.
Like, down the road.
Get it.
But now I was shaking everything up at 23 because I'm like, no, we're going to do this. And it's this crazy thing that nobody believes in. Everybody hates network marketing in
You're
our little
all
small
planned now.
town. Yeah. And it's going to put us on the radar. I'm going to go on social media and I'm just going to blast about everything in our life. And he was like, whoa, like that is not what I signed up for. So we kind of battled for a couple years. And then I was named a millionaire in my company. And he still was having a struggle with the whole network marketing thing. And some people listening in right now too, they might have known somebody that got screwed over in network marketing.
Like anything else, there's good network marketing companies and there's negative network
Right.
marketing.
But his paradigm was that everything was bad in network marketing for a long time until he saw, okay, this is real. It keeps coming in every week. Like I believe in it. And he saw me start to change as a person and just become, more dynamic and just more focused on, I got to help these people. I was flying all over the country trying to help more people make money.
Was he ever, you think, jealous of your success at all?
Absolutely. Yeah. And he talks about that now too. It was just his ego being hurt because he wanted to be the breadwinner and he always was, like he used to give me these little envelopes, the Dave Ramsey method. And I freaking hated that. Like him giving me cash and that's what I had to spend for the week. I was like, I cannot anymore with this. So that was also another motivator. Like I had this, like, this is
What's
not going to be
Dave
my life.
Ramsey method?
Yeah. They give you envelopes.
I never heard of this.
So you budget it. So
you learn
like,
something every day.
yeah. Okay. So
Who's Dave Ramsey?
You've never, okay. So that's another guy you got to have on your show.
Really?
I mean,
I don't
know
like the
if
way
you
he
get
treats
along.
wives and stuff.
I don't know if you would get along with him.
No, I respect him if he's a truck. But what is this? What do you mean, envelopes? I don't understand.
Okay, so it's all about getting out of debt. So that's his big thing. And so you live on a budget. So his thing is you drive a Pinto until your house is paid off, basically. And that's not okay with me.
Ooh, I
So-
disagree with Dave Ramsey completely.
Yeah. Well, you would totally because he's not about holding a mortgage at all. So he's like, you pay off your mortgage, as quickly as possible and you live on this, like.
You know what? if Dave Ramsey helps people in his own
He
way,
does, yeah.
that's good. Okay,
Yeah.
My philosophy on money and success is very different. That doesn't mean
Probably.
there can't be other philosophies as long as they're grounded in
Yes.
goodness. Then it's okay. So,
Okay,
but
there
I
you
just
go.
don't. I don't like the fact that I think it's very disempowering to a wife or husband that's on the end of here's how much money you have. There's such a scarcity mentality, and
Totally.
it also breeds contempt in a marriage. I don't think it's healthy.
Yeah.
I've always had every wife I've had has always been our money.
Well, and
That sounds
I
great.
didn't.
Every wife I've had.
He had envelopes too. So it wasn't just me that had envelopes. We both followed the envelope system. So we would get $100 a week to spend on what we wanted.
Not as bad then. Okay.
Yeah. So it wasn't just me. He had the envelopes too. And it was just like everything else went into savings. It was just this whole
Logical way of living.
yes. And it's not abundant.
Passionless way of living. Right. Yeah.
I didn't like it.
Me neither. Okay, keep going though. It's interesting. I'm glad I want to have him on. Let's get him on the show because I'd love to hear.
Yes.
Because there might.
He has a huge podcast.
Because there might be a really other side that's awesome to it, like that. Actually,
I know he's
might have
helping
helped so
so
many
many
people.
people.
Right? Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's definitely worth exploring.
Right.
And I think the truth lies in the middle with these things. In other words, if you maybe on part, like if you there's some things to be we learn from Dave Ramsey, because I wouldn't recommend the way I manage money is probably not right for a lot of people, and that's why I don't teach that. I don't teach my strategy because my strategies make a fucking ton of it.
Yeah.
Like
Well, that's kind of Tony Robbins too. I've heard him on some podcasts.
I'm just I'm not going to worry about saving. Not that I'm overspend, but because I don't think you get rich by not spending. You get rich by making tons of money. So I teach people how to do that. So I think probably a little touch of Dave Ramsey in there for discipline might be a good thing. So as I say, the truth usually lies in the middle.
Yes.
Anyway,
I love that.
So you didn't like the envelope system, right? So you're like, fuck the envelopes. I'm going to get rich myself, right?
Yeah, well, for me, the way that I've thought is because I was taught, if you want something, you just work harder. So for me, in my mindset, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to make more money to have everything that I want. And I'll find a way to make more money. And there's always a way to make more money.
Okay, so your husband at first was partially resentful, a little bit jealous, shocked probably too that it worked, right?
There was just
and he has
a
no
lot.
limiting beliefs he has to overcome about network marketing, right?
Yep.
So was there a certain point when he turned around and said, wow, honey, I got to tell you, I was wrong about this? Or you still wait until he gets there?
No, it finally did happen, but it was very shocking. It was probably 2 years ago where he made the turn and he ended up moving to Newport Beach with me and the kids.
Were you living separate?
No, we weren't living separate, but I basically told him I'm not staying in Bakersfield anymore because it's lack thinking here and I don't want to be surrounded by these people.
Plus the air is not good there. I don't think.
Well, totally. And I want to be by the beach. I have I could live anywhere I want in the world.
Right.
Why am I living in Bakersfield?
I agree.
Right? So I
live
want to be by the ocean.
Jail there. I lived there. I had no choice, right? Or if you want to live. So the only problem with Bakersfield is that there's people from Bakersfield. I love Bakersfield. No against the people, but
I love
the people are great. But I don't particularly like the topography, the weather, the air quality. I think it's shit.
Yes.
Right?
It is. It's actually one of the worst in the nation.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, so you said I'm moving to Newport Beach with the kids, live a better life, and he finally says, "You know what, honey? I see what you've done, and you've walked your talk essentially, and good for you."
Yeah. And so that was kind of he got exposed to different things in Newport Beach, just a different way of thinking. And that has completely changed his whole life.
Did he leave the family business?
Yep.
Ooh. And what did he do?
Works with me.
He's
my integrator, I call him.
Explain that.
So he's just the person. I'm the idea person. Obviously, you could say I'm the visionary. I have all these ideas.
Sure.
He's the one that puts feet on it. So this is how we're going to do it.
He implements
everything,
integrates plans.
He manages all the people that need to do everything too.
Okay. And you guys have 3 kids,
we have
right?
3 kids.
And so they go to school in Newport Beach, and they go to public or private school?
They go to a private school.
And how are they doing? They love it there?
Yeah, they love it. It took a while, but they love it now. And my kids play hockey and figure skating. So they're very...
All right. So tell me this. So you have this you have this business. So it starts off, right? You're in network marketing. What's the leap to the Mommy Millionaire? This, where was it a slow thing that happened natural? One day, you know what? I got a great idea for a brand. I'm going to shift my brand to Mommy Millionaire, and bam. Or it's just sort of one day it started being coined and it took on a life of its own.
I think, what happened was I tried to start my own Cayla Craft brand and focus on training network marketers. And that was an epic failure. I built out this whole website and did all this stuff and it failed completely. I wasted a lot of money.
And you learned a hell of a lot.
Yes, I did. So then to relaunch it, I took all my mistakes and I was like, I'm going to start Mommy Millionaire, and we're going to start it in the form of a podcast. And then we're going to do a live event and a mastermind and, a membership and all the things. And no, once I decided I was going to do a podcast, and it was like, boom, we're off to the races. Let's do this.
Got it. Okay, so what you did basically is the classic mistake, which I've made and all young entrepreneurs make, right? Is you figure you got it all figured out, so you build all the stuff, you get it all, I'm gonna get the perfect thing, then you launch it, no one wants it, right?
Yeah.
Versus just testing out an idea with virtually no investment and saying,
right.
It's got traction, bam, then you back and run 1,000 miles an hour. Is that what you did the second time?
Yes, absolutely.
That was your big lesson?
What I
Good
did,
lesson, right?
Yeah, the next program that I sold was, I didn't create it, I sold it first.
There you go. That's my exact point. See if there's demand, you sell it first, and then, right? You know what the market wants. Let them tell you what they want. You build it to suit, right?
Yep.
Great, brilliant. So you get it, right? You're a smart lady, all right? Let me ask you a question. I want to really dig into the Mommy Millionaire thing, what it really is.
Yes, let's talk about it.
But I want to ask you one other question first, okay? That question is, for me, I'm known around the world as sales training.
Yep.
It's synonymous, right? From the movie and my life, and it's true. That's really what I do better than anyone in the world. And I really believe that, and I try hard to be that person, right? But my frustration is, and it's always been like, wait, but I can teach entrepreneurs too. I know how to build business, and it's like you always want
shiny objects.
Well, you always want not that. It's like you always kind of want to be perceived as something that you're not being perceived. It's like you're the Mommy Millionaire, but do you ever say, I want to be I could teach men too. My question is, before we get into it, is like, I see a lot where it's like you almost, like your brand is so tight. It makes sense. It's congruent. My brand is so tight. It's congruent. Jordan Belfort, sales training. You, Mommy Millionaire, right? But in the back of my mind, I'm always fighting this urge to say, I want to expand beyond sales training and go into entrepreneurship, marketing, mindset. And while those are, I'm not saying those are bad things or not, I think my experience is that you always make the most money when you're very niche focused. So what do you have that desire to branch out past the Mommy Millionaire thing, or I'm just going to reach more mommies?
Yes. That's exactly why I love having Chase in his place, like right now with me, because he keeps me kind of like centered. Like, this is working. This is cash flow positive. Why would we not make this as big as it can be? Because this is the one thing that you're amazingly good at. So let's focus here until you make the amount of money you want to make. And so I'm like, okay, let's just keep going.
by keeping your husband in his place, he keeps you in your place.
Yeah.
You keep each other in place.
Yeah, and I get to, like, when I do my coaching and stuff like that with my mastermind girls, I get to use a lot of my like creative energy for them and helping them.
All right.
Expand and do their stuff.
Let's now go into that. I want to know everything about the Mommy Millionaire program. Yes. I want to know, how someone would start getting into it, and then I want to know how they could. So I want to share the link, because this is great, guys. She's the real deal. I'll tell you that. I've researched her. Female or male, seriously, but you can learn. But if you obviously,
there are a lot of guys that listen.
Yeah,
to my podcast.
But like, if you're a mom, seriously, there's so many moms out there that have so much intellect, so much passion, so much to offer, and it's easy to get caught up in the daily grind because there's a great comedy skit from Bill Burr about mom being a mom. It's the toughest job in the. I don't believe that for a second. It's the most important job in the world. Yeah. I don't think it's the toughest job, but it's the most important job in the world. Right? That's there's a great comedy skit you should watch.
Yeah, I'll have to watch it. Bill Burr.
I mean, he's saying, mom. So wait, okay, the soldier in Iraq. That's the toughest job. Anyway, the point is, it's the most important job, I think, along with being a teacher. All right. I mean,
you're molding young children's
exactly
minds.
Right. Mm-hmm. But it's an hysterical skit. You have to watch it. We talk about mommy saying it's the toughest job. Really? Yeah. Anyway, but tell me, I think that that it's important that every mom and dad, but especially moms, listen to this. And how do you take someone, which I'm assuming your person that gets started with you is someone that feels like, what? I'm smart, I'm educated, I'm diligent, I'm hardworking. I know there's more for you. I'm feeling like the spark really might not be there. And you essentially show them, not give them that spark, but show them how to find their own spark, to reignite what somehow got extinguished over time, and then show them a pathway, actual step-by-step pathway to a more empowered, happier life. Is that what you do, basically?
Yes. So what I always do is you have to go back to your childhood all the time to figure out what happened there to stop you up here.
So it starts with mindset.
It starts with a mindset.
So let's talk about it. Tell me your formula for what do you think makes up success mindset? And then how do you go about intervening on yourself or with a coach like you, and how do you improve it?
So I think a lot of our actions that we take every single day are completely subconscious. 95% of the actions that we take are completely subconscious. We think 70,000 thoughts a day, and we're not even aware of most of them. So the first work that we do, if you're getting into the Millionaire Society, which is the first tier of becoming a Mommy Millionaire, you get into that, and we're going to ask every one of your beliefs if you really believe them. So we'll start with people don't like me. I'm not a good salesperson. We start to question everything. And I have them do all this work just in writing. So that way it's like they can see that the crap that they've been thinking is actual BS, right?
Writing on a computer, writing actually in hand?
On hand. So they get a journal. It's like a tracking journal, so they can see that they're making progress in their beliefs around money, success, partnerships, networking, and self-worth. So those are the things that we work on. It's just if anybody's listening right now, is just the first thing we do is we want to question all of our beliefs. Every single one of them. Because a lot of people hold so tightly to their beliefs, like, I have to work really hard to make a lot of money. Well, in our minds, if we work hard, that means that we're going to lose time with our family. And nobody essentially wants to lose time with their family, but they do want to make a lot of money. Do you see what I'm saying? Are you catching on? So a lot of people will sabotage themselves because they don't want to lose time with their family because they believe hard work is taking them away from their family. Mm-hmm. And so it's starting to question that and say, can I make a lot of money and still be a good mom and a good wife? Mm-hmm. Yes, there's proof all over the world that you can have those things. And so it's putting a new belief in place. So we always take out the garbage and replace it with good things that are going to serve us.
Okay, so a couple of questions. Number one, no, because I know a lot about this stuff and I love it. I think it's great. And obviously, I think you have great intuition. So talking about beliefs and the issue of that, I have a belief that if I go out and make money, I'll sacrifice time with my family or whatnot, right? Mm-hmm. But is that a question? So at the end of the day, is that a question of beliefs alone, or is it a question of also values? In the sense that your belief relates to the value that either it hits or it doesn't. In other words, if you value time with your family more than you value money per se, then you would tend to then override towards default to time with the family, and you'd self-sabotage like that. Or is the belief independent of the value?
Well,
you see what I'm saying?
Yes, but I actually think that a lot of people don't know their values. They don't, because I'll ask people, when they come onto my live coaching calls, I'll say, what are your core values? And they'll go, they don't know. Takes them a second.
Sure.
But
then you give them some multiple choice and they can do it, right?
Right.
You prompt them. Is it this or that? Then they'll be able to do it, right?
But people aren't as aware of their values as they are their beliefs,
right,
about a certain circumstance. When you just this morning on Instagram Live, I said, right now I want you guys to take out a pen and paper, and I'm going to say the word money, and I want you to write out everything that comes to mind. And so people ended up doing it in the chat, and they were saying, I don't have enough of it. I'm scared of it. All these things. But if I would have said, what are your values in your life? They would have it would have taken them a little bit longer.
Okay. Got it. So when someone let's say someone has that belief, right? That that if I have to work really hard, hard work will cause me to sacrifice time with my family, right?
Yep.
And let's say that is a high value for them. When they think it through, they're like, "Oh, and I don't want to lose time because I love my family, and my family is more important to me than money." Then they set themselves up to self-sabotage, right?
Right.
Good. All right. So then you said that if you want to clean that out, how? Right? This is I'm going to make you give away all your best secrets. Yeah. And if you want to know how, you have to sign up. Wait. What's the web? Put the website up.
MommyMillionaire.co.
No, and I'm not even saying that facetiously because she deserves to get paid for what she does. And I saw what she charged. She could charge 100 times more than she charges. You're undercharged for what you do. I think you're giving value, right?
Yeah.
You're not really in this it's not about just how much you can make, right? No, but I don't want you to give away all your secrets, but it's a legitimate question.
I don't even say, I give away everything, and it makes people want it more.
Exactly.
Right.
So tell me how.
Okay. So basically what we do is, I want to believe that I can be filthy rich and be an amazing mother and be an amazing wife. Those are three things that are very important to me. So why don't I create a new story around that, right? Because our lives are made up of stories. And most of the time we're making up stories about, I don't have enough money. When I'm working, I miss my kids. And when I'm with my kids, I'm thinking about how much I need to work. And so we entertain all these things where most people are living in a nightmare with their thoughts. So they need to wake up and just place some new thoughts in there, right? And so there's a practice that I do that's just reaffirming everything for my new story. Okay. I look in the mirror and I say it, okay?
Incantations.
Yeah. Basically. Okay. So I look in the mirror and I'll say, I am an amazing mother, an amazing wife, and I have so much money and I'm open to more coming into my life. So I always say things like that, and I'll say it like 300 times. And most people would go, what the heck? Affirmations don't work. That, is bullcrap. And it's because they say it one time and they expect their life to change, right? So it only works if you really look yourself in the eyes and you say it over and over and over again until your body believes it.
Okay. So I think, no, okay. So let me challenge you on that for a second, because my sense is that's not the whole picture. So affirmations, incantations, if you want to call it, pretty much the same thing. There's a slight distinction. If you just do that,
you're not going to make $1 million.
Is it gonna help if you look in the mirror and say, I am worthy of success? Is that going to unto itself? Is that enough, or is there other things you have to do as well?
There is other things you have to do. Action follows your feelings, okay? But most people's feelings are, I'm not good enough. I don't really have what it takes. I have to work too hard and I want to spend more time with my kids. And, it's that whole concept, thoughts, feelings, actions, results, character, destiny,
right. Okay?
And we got to change our feelings. So if we come from a feeling of, I'm an amazing mom, I'm an amazing wife, and I have so much abundance around me. So it's a feeling of excitement, enthusiasm. It's a very high vibe that you're giving off. And then now you go out, and because you have structure in your day, which I also teach you how to create structure around your sales process.
Time management.
Everything.
Do you teach actual sales or more time management?
I teach more of the sales structure, about how many people you need to be talking to.
Good. Not the actual tactics.
No.
Though. Okay, fine.
Oh, like tactics of how to sell health and wealth. Yeah, I do that.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
All right.
We can talk about that too.
Yeah, afterwards.
Okay, so you have the right feeling, then you have the structure in place, because most people don't have the structure too. They're missing
structure, as in plan. Is it plan? Did you call it, or plan? Time management plan or plan strategy plan? Big difference. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like someone does the wrong thing really well, but they don't get a result, and they reinforce a limiting belief. Say, it was right. In other words, without the right plan or strategy. So I believe this, that I believe that what you're saying is true, but there's another side to that equation, in that, number one, and this is not Jordan Belfort. This is invented by Dr. Richard Bandler, who founded NLP. And I agree with some things NLP does wholeheartedly, others not as much. One of the things I think they got right was this idea of limiting beliefs. And since that's what we're talking about, I'll refer back to Dr. Bandler's teachings, right? And according to Bandler, it's the root experience that formed a limiting belief. In other words, that you have a belief, but a belief doesn't just happen in a vacuum. You saw something, you heard something, you experienced something, you took an action, got bad results. Yeah. And as a result of that, as you pointed out correctly, we apply the wrong meaning. We use language to tell ourselves a story.
Right.
That story is a disempowered story, which creates a disempowered belief. And then once you have the root of that belief, it searches the environment and scours for evidence that's true, right, and deletes out the stuff that goes against it. And over time, you have this strong, debilitating, limiting belief. And that's the cycle, right?
Yep.
According to Bandler, not Jordan Belfort, so I'm not trying to steal his thunder here, but this is, and I studied him, is that the way to break that belief is that you can't wish it away in the mirror. He says that you have to go back to the moment, your unconscious mind float you back to the moment where the initial root experience happened, and then essentially, it's called a timeline regression. You probably know this, right? You float up above your body, look down, and say, okay, now as a sober adult with the resources of an adult and a positive mindset, can I apply a different meaning to this root experience? Mm-hmm. And by changing the meaning to the root experience, it then allows you to float forward, and all the other experiences automatically rearrange themselves in light of this new learning that you have. That's just an NLP process, right? And you've studied NLP, right?
Yeah.
So his point is that incantations are good, but unless you change the root experience, you're still going to be debilitated. What do you think?
Totally. So what we do in our coaching sessions, especially like in the society, everybody gets to come on and they'll get one at least 10-minute coaching session. Sure. This is what we do, is I teach them a 7-step process that will help them. So let's say their thing is, I'm not good enough, okay? And they believe that they're not good enough because their dad constantly told them, they made a sandwich the wrong way.
The root experience.
Right. But there's a lot of different experiences.
Sure.
So what I tell them is to identify all of their complaints about this certain person. Okay. So that's like the first step you would do is identify the complaint and then look at that complaint from which the lens that you look at life through. And so their lens is, I'm not good enough. Because everything, no matter what happens to them in their life, it's proof I'm not good enough. So now look at that fact. You're stating the complaint as a fact, but instead, let's state it as a story. So apparently, every time I made a sandwich when I was a kid, I have this story that you didn't think it was good enough. And for a long time, I've looked at my life through the lens of I'm not good enough. And so when that happened, it was proof for me. And what I want to do is put myself in their shoes now. So it's you always want to put yourself in that person's shoes.
What was the motives behind what they were saying?
Right, right. And then actually forgive them and find a place where you've been a hypocrite in your life and you've criticized somebody else. And then it takes them into forgiveness and then also asking for forgiveness from that person or from the situation and then having gratitude for that moment. So that's my process of doing it, is just ending with, I'm going to have gratitude that those things happened instead of looking at it like that was a bad thing. That was a thing that was necessary in order for me to become the person I am today.
So on some level, so you have some modified form of going back to the root, right?
Always,
right,
yeah.
So great, I'm glad. So I think you should look at that timeline regression. I think you could probably add some stuff from that. You probably want to pull some stuff there. I think you're right on the money, because I didn't make sense. It can't just be incantations. It's got to be that. Plus, you have them do that.
It's so much work, and that's why people need to invest in themselves, right? Because they get with a coach that can help them do this work that not necessarily they can do on their own. A lot of it I've been able to learn on my own, self-studied, because of books and right, all that kind of stuff. But and I've also invested so much in coaches helping me see that stuff.
I get it. Great. All right. Perfect. All right.
Yeah.
So, all right. So now that's the beginning of how you essentially, kind of root out limiting beliefs. And then would your next step be to then have them replace that with the empowering version of the same belief, or no?
Well, I want them just to focus on the story and the feeling that they should be creating.
Okay.
And how they should be feeling every single day.
Give me an example.
So for me, like right now, I'm focusing on this new goal that I have for my life, okay? And I have a story written out about how my life is going to look in 1 year, okay? And so I look at that story all the time, and I spend like 30 minutes a day visualizing that new story as well. So I do my incantations, and they're different. It's a lot of my stuff is about loving myself and doing everything out of love. Does that make sense?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so I do that work, and then I also visualize.
That's your why, essentially. To why you're doing things, right?
Yeah.
What is your why?
Well, for a long time, I did it because I was trying to prove myself, right? And because I didn't like myself almost in a way, because I thought there was something wrong with me. Then I realized there's nothing wrong with me, and I need to just love myself, and I need to do all these things out of love instead of having to prove myself to people.
Okay.
Right? So my why right now is just because I like money, and I also want my kids to experience a life of abundance,
It's powerful that you want for your children. How about, no, seriously. I mean, I believe, I wasn't being facetious there, because I believe that human beings will do more for those they love unconditionally than they'll do for themselves. Do you agree with that?
Yes.
Yeah. So I think your kids I've always used my kids as a power source to motivate myself.
Yeah.
I know what's important to me, what moves me, and I use that to propel me to success. What about, is one of your really high values in your why helping other moms that are living disempowered lives?
Yeah, absolutely. I like every single time I do like sessions and stuff like that, I'm an empath, so I take on other people's energies. I just want to fix them. I want to help them. I know what it's like to live a life of less, and I want all these people to experience a life of more. And there's so many people that follow along that like they're doing all the right action, They're doing what all the gurus are saying out there, but they're
Sure.
still not seeing results. And so I know that this mindset work is what will transform them to actually get different results in their life. And so I'm just so passionate about helping them experience that. There's enough money to go around.
Why do you think, I agree, why do you think that is? Why do you think people seek out a lot of gurus, and a lot of them teach similar things to this, right? Some, they do a lot of inner game people, a lot of outer game people. Why do you think that the success rate is so low so often?
Because this mindset work is actual, this is the hard work. And people think that it needs to be some other type of hard work. Like there has to be more action I'm taking outwards. But actually the action you need to be taking is inwards and working with your inner child, And I talk a lot about that. So but that's not comfortable. I mean, it'll make you cry every single day, and it'll make you, feel those feelings that you've suppressed for so long. And a lot of people don't want to just deal with it. They're like, okay, I'll just live comfortable, in this little okay broke zone instead of dealing with this, because it's just, it's so painful. And I hear people say it all the time. It feels like I'm getting physical symptoms. I'm getting a headache and all this stuff is coming up. I'm like, that's normal.
Question, or I want your opinion on this, right? So my belief about success is that when I see someone that's really succeeding at a high level, typically what it represents is the integration, a seamless integration of the inner world of success with the outer world of success, because they both feed off one another. In other words, if you have a very strong inner core, inner game, and you have your mindset straight, your state, your belief systems, your values, your vision, the whole thing, right? Your standards, right? But you don't possess the actual real world strategies to take the ideas and the vision that you have and turn it into reality in the actual real world, then what happens is you work hard, you don't get the result because you don't know what you're doing, and that forms more limiting beliefs, and it corrupts the inner game, and you start that vicious cycle. So if you try to go out there only focusing on the inner game, or focusing primarily on the inner game without possessing the outer world strategies, you set yourself up for failure, versus both being equally important. That's my belief. What do you think?
Well, I think that when you're working on your inner game and you're constantly growing to be a new person, right? You want to be the best version of yourself. So I always ask myself, who is that highest version of Cayla? I believe I'm not her. I'm evolving to her every single day. And I would say, what would she do to create this course, to create this mastermind? How would she create this? Who would she need to hire? So I ask those types of questions, and that's still inner work. Because if I come and I do it from the Cayla that I am today, it's probably going to I'll make a bad decision. I won't hire the right people, or I'll just go and launch something that doesn't make sense without, proving that there was a demand first, that kind of stuff. Does that make sense?
It does, but it's not. It doesn't quite answer what I was saying. Let me ask again. It wasn't a too broad a question or too long a question. Let me ask again, because you're hovering around it. My point is, all you're saying is true, but you get now to the mastermind. And let's say Cayla doesn't know the first thing about running a mastermind.
I bring in my experts.
So then your outer world, that's an outer world strategy would be to surround myself with people who know what I don't know in the outer game. That's a strategy into itself.
Absolutely.
So you'd recruit, which means you have to sell to people, convince them to come and either be part of what you're doing. So that requires persuasion, sales.
Yep.
You have to bring yourself out into the world, market yourself, outer world. Right, you have to do the whole thing.
Yeah, you're doing a lot of stuff.
Right, so my point is anytime I see someone that only focuses on the outer world, they fail.
Yeah,
they don't have this straight upstairs. It's never going to work. You can't take skills like I teach sales. I could make you the best technical closer in the world. If your mindset's screwed up, you're never going to succeed. Conversely, if I don't show you how to actually go out there and influence and persuade at a reasonable level, doesn't matter how great you are up here, the feedback in the real world is going to backfire, because you're not going to be able to get people. Cayla's going to go out and say, come, no, I'm not interested. But you're obviously a great.
I see it happen all the time with people. Yeah.
So the seamless integration of both. That's sort of the strategy. So is that really what you teach, though? Is that what you teach? Do you teach outer world strategy too, or no?
I do, actually. I mean, I talk a ton. It just depends on what level you're in. So the Millionaire Society is all focused on getting your foundation right with your mindset, believing in yourself,
Sure.
having different beliefs around money. And then we go into, when you work one-on-one with me, it's all strategy.
Fair enough.
Then also, in my mastermind, I don't know half the stuff that these people need to know. So I bring in experts every single month to
And that's a
teach them.
strategy too.
Right.
So the point is, though, what you're saying is you believe it starts foundationally with the inner game.
Absolutely.
And then that sets you up to succeed, and you have to learn the outer world too, right?
Yeah, because I always looked back, like when I was 23, why was I able to do it so quickly when everybody else was given the same exact strategy, the outer game strategy that you're talking about? Everybody else was given the same exact tracks to run on. Which was talk to this amount of people a day.
Make a list, do this, right?
Right. You know, and I did it, and...
Was it because perhaps you maybe had more natural sales ability than the other people? Or no?
Well, I had a little bit of sales training because I used to sell cell phones, but just like not a lot. But I have to like throw that in there, right? I had done a lot of role play and stuff like that, so it was easy for me I go, oh, as soon as I know I need to make these people sell for me, I'm going to do role play with them. So I had like a little bit of.
So you had some strategy.
I had a little bit of strategy, but I believed in myself.
Sure.
Right? So that was the difference, because I knew anything I want to be true for myself, I'm going to say it out loud. So as soon as I decided I'm going to run with this company, I was just saying, I'm going to be a millionaire. And nobody could tell me otherwise. I was going around and telling everybody what I was going to do. Like, you want to join my team? You want to do this? And I was so excited. People thought I was crazy, but you couldn't talk me out of it.
Right. So that's a strategy that I've used myself many times with a massive success. I'll tell you a story. Tell me if you disagree or agree, right?
Okay.
When I got out of jail, and I had sold my book to Random House, the first book, the one that became the movie, right?
Okay.
And I'd written maybe 30 pages, and I never thought that I would finish. I didn't know how to write. I was teaching myself as I was going. So what did I do? I went to my daughter. I said, guess what? Daddy's going to write a best-selling book. He's going to be famous.
How old was she?
She was 10, 11, okay, 12 maybe at that time, right? I backed myself into a corner by telling someone that I loved unconditionally. It's my son, Daddy's going to be famous. And they're like, guess what, Mommy? Daddy's, and I was fucked, right? Because now I put it out there. And I almost embarrassed myself into not following through. Is that kind of what you're talking about?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree 1,000%.
There's like, sometimes I always tell people, you've got to put the line in the sand and walk over it. And sometimes saying it out loud, declaring it to your friends and family is drawing the line in the sand and walking over it.
Giving yourself no choice but to succeed. There's an old,
you got to burn the ships.
Oh yeah, I got that. You know where I heard that? The first time I heard that, I didn't invent that one again. I heard it, of all places, in a movie, The Hunt for Red October.
Oh, I've never seen it.
Yeah, so that 80s or early 90s, 80s. You know, Sean Connery goes, you know, when Pizarro came to the New World, he burned his ships.
Oh, wow.
I think it was Pizarro, Cortez, whoever it was.
Somebody did it.
Burnt their ships because they had no choice but to hack out an existence in the New World, right? Yep. It's interesting that, you know, I think that the truth about mindset is that everything that's kind of been invented has been invented. It's how you say it. How can you get it across to people? You obviously have an ability, but your success is based on you've packaged it a certain way, and you deliver it in a way that people connect with. Mommies especially around the world look at you, and I think they say, you know what? She did it. I can do it too. Yep. And she's also giving me a roadmap to do it. Yeah. So why not? You know? What do you think about that?
I mean, that's totally true. I think my superpower is getting people to believe in themselves and do something that they didn't think possible for themselves. Yeah, I love it. I mean, I've done a lot of work to learn how to be the good package.
Of course. No, and you've lived it, you've walked your talk, and now you're spreading it around, right?
Yeah.
So tell me, what's the best way? Give me if you were to break this down, and then I want you to talk into the camera now.
Okay.
All right. 5 steps for any mommy. I have a global followings all over the world. I don't care where they are. Economically advantaged, disadvantaged, right? You probably right.
I said I should have came prepared with 5 steps.
Let me tell you something. You are a force of nature. Give me 5. Your 5. What would you do first as a mommy? What would you do second, third, fourth, and fifth? And the fifth one, I'll tell you right now, guys, should be sign up. At least it's free, right? Isn't it free probably to start? You could probably opt in and just
sure. My podcast is free.
You at least get her go on her podcast, right? Why wouldn't you? Yeah. What's the worst that can happen? You go on her podcast, you hear more about her message, all right? There's no downside, only massive upside. I would do it. You go.
Okay, yes. All right. So first step is I would just figure out, who do you want to be? So who is that perfect version of yourself that you think about, that you know is available for you? Figure out everything about her, okay? Because I think people sometimes work backwards. They go, oh, what do I want? And then they, reverse engineer from there. No, who do I want to be? That's the most important thing that I want you guys to understand from this podcast right now, okay? And then the second thing is, in order to be that person, who do I need to surround myself with in order to learn how to get that? Okay, how to become that person. So do I need to invest in a mentor? Do I need to read a book? Do I need to change locations? What do I need to do? Okay. And then the third thing is figure out what that person's values are. Okay. And then figure out what your non-negotiables are every single day. So for me, mine is faith, family, fitness, and my future. Okay. And so I make sure that every single day I have in my schedule things that have to do with my faith, my family, fitness, and my future, which means I'm working on my career every single day. So that's the structure that you put into place. Okay. And I learned this from my nursing days that if it's not written down, you won't do it. And so get in the habit. It's true.
Thank God my dad's in the hospital right now.
Oh.
Hopefully they're following that advice of nurses.
Yeah. So anyways, you always want to make sure to have that ahead of time in your calendar. So that way you don't wake up and then your day is gone again because you didn't put the structure in place. The fourth thing I think would be after you know who you want to be and what types of things you need to be doing every single day, who you need to be hanging out with, then I want you to challenge yourself. Okay. So getting outside of your comfort zone will be the quickest way to grow your confidence and push you into new heights. Okay. So what's a challenge you could do? I don't care if it's fitness, maybe it's in sales, maybe it's with your family, maybe it's with your faith, but create a challenge and stick to it for 7 days. Okay. That's all I want you to do is just 7 days of changing something and going outside of your comfort zone. And when you stick to your word, you feel better about yourself and you'll start to take better action. You'll be at a higher vibe and things will start to change in your life because you'll feel good about yourself, okay? The fifth thing is this. You got to listen in to the Mommy Millionaire podcast. I give out a ton of mindset training. I bring people on live and we do coaching and I bring on some amazing people that will help you just grow your life to the next level. And you guys can follow me on Instagram. I love hanging out on there. It's Cayla.craft. And I bring a ton of stuff over at mommymillionaire.co. You guys can check out the free ebook I have that's all on the law of attraction and getting more customers to say yes to you just by being yourself. So check it out.
All right. So tell me so you know that I'm known around the world
for sales.
Sales, right? And I teach a system called the straight line. I think so your husband read my stuff, right? Which is great. Love the guy.
I know.
Right?
I need to read it.
I'm going to give you, actually have a book here. I'm going to give you a signed copy.
Yeah.
Where's my sign? Oh, there's right there. I'm going to give you a signed copy of my book. And by the way, everyone, you guys, you got to read this book. Seriously.
Yes.
I'm going to sell you this book. Okay? No, it's an awesome book. Okay, pen, please. Sell me this. He's trying to sell me this pen.
Signed copy. Should I video this?
Yeah, you can, of course. Yeah, take out your video if you want. Whatever you want to do here.
It's okay. It's okay.
I want to sell this to you because I want to sell you this. I'm giving it to you. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, my pleasure. Okay, it's a great book on selling and persuasion, and there's some mindset stuff in there too that I think you really like.
Okay.
But you really, I think you have a really great.
I've watched a ton of your YouTube stuff.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Boom. All right. So tell me very quickly here, just in a few minutes, right, your philosophy on sales in terms of, there's this line that we draw between marketing and sales, right? So marketing is the idea of going out into the world, identifying your best buyers, right? And then essentially bring them into your funnel, your pipeline, whatever. And then at a certain point in time, a human being, a salesperson, picks up the phone and tries to influence them to do something. So let's talk about not the marketing side, but on the sales side, right? So what's your philosophy on that whole idea, that whole process?
Yeah. So I primarily focus on sales when it comes to coaches and with network marketing. Okay. So a lot of these people are doing cold market stuff and they're really scared about it. But
define cold market. What are they doing? Like, for instance,
they're going out there and asking for referrals. They're going and meeting new people and trying to find a way to get somebody's number at a coffee shop. Okay. So I teach them that strategy just to get the number. But then when it comes to sales and you get them on the phone.
And there we go. So that's right. And then you said it. Boom, that's all marketing and sales, right? Good.
Right. So I like to get them on the phone. And I actually used to sell for different coaches for a while just to really hone in on this skill because now I teach it to the Mommy Millionaires. But first thing is I always just like to, start off the conversation by, building rapport, right? Do you want me to go into this much detail?
Just no. I guess what I'm looking for is just keep going. So far, so good. Keep going.
Build rapport. So you're always like finding a commonality with somebody.
Okay.
Because sometimes you're talking to that person, they don't know you from anywhere, right? They haven't been following you on Instagram, maybe, or maybe they have. So I like to just like start it off like that. Then I want to always find out what's your goal, what's your goal? What have you been struggling with? The whole thing is about sales. I think a lot of people don't understand. I don't know if this is your same approach, but we got to like listen to people.
Of course it is.
Yeah. I think some people think sales though is like pitching, right? You got to have the perfect pitch. But for us, it's just like, let's ask more questions and get this person to talk themselves into what we have to sell anyways.
So would you say this is along your philosophy? So as a salesperson, true or false, you have to be a great asker of questions.
Yes, true.
True or false, as a salesperson, you have to be a great listener.
Yeah, true.
True or false, as you listen to someone who is responding, okay, do you believe you should be chiming in, to build rapport like that, or you just be silent? How do you build rapport as you listen? Is there a way of listening effectively?
So the way that I like to listen is not to interrupt, but I take notes while I'm listening, and then I repeat back what I heard from them. So what I'm hearing from you is this. And I think that helps people know that, okay, this person understands me.
So you ask someone a question, let's say, and as they're answering, do you find yourself going, makes sense, keep going? Do you give them positive affirmations along the way?
Yeah, I always like to put in yes as much as possible, but my thing is I like to repeat back to them.
Okay, so then when the question's over, then you say, so what you said, so I understand, you said da-da-da-da, does that make sense to you?
Yes.
Does that sound about
right? Is
right?
that resonating with you? Yeah.
Great, perfect, okay, great. And then at a certain point in time, right, when you have asked all the questions you need to ask, you know what you need to know, meaning do they need the product? Can they benefit from the product? Do they want the product? Can they afford to do it, right? Both time-wise and money-wise, right? If I guess depending what you're selling, right? And then you have a certain transition into do you believe then you have to make some type of presentation, right? So is that a prepared presentation you make?
Well, it just depends like on what you're selling. So like I'll take you back to when I was selling health and wellness supplements, okay? So before I have somebody even get on the phone call, they already know exactly what package I'm presenting to them.
How's that?
Because I send them a video ahead of time.
And okay.
On exactly what it is. They don't know the price, probably. And so they didn't then. So then I would break it down to transition it into the closing and saying, how much are you willing to spend a day on changing your health and getting to X, Y, and Z goal? Does that make sense? So.
Yeah, I don't want to. It's I guess what I'm.
Yeah, but then so I always.
What I'm saying is that you have a sort of like, do you teach people that before you get in the phone and say, let me tell you about my coaching services. I do this. Do you have something that you sort of have in your mind, like you're going to say certain, like there's many ways you could sell yourself as a coach, right? Yeah. There's like probably 99 terrible ways and 1 or 2 really great ways. And my experience with salespeople is that in the absence of some preparation, unless they're really natural born clothes, they won't say something that really best explains, almost like what's the truth well told. Do you do that at all? Do you prepare at all? Like, do you know what you're going to say before you say it?
Absolutely. Like every time I get on a call with somebody, like whether it's selling my mastermind or this health and wellness supplement, I have everybody fill out an application. So I know the background of them. I know what their income is, and I've studied them well. So I know what their objections are going to be. So before I don't even give them a chance to go into objections because I'm already going to squash them.
Answer before, as you're presenting, you're already,
During the questions, I'll be like, oh, that's interesting,
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
And then I always just say, so are you ready to commit to your vision? That's usually what I ask people.
Okay. Awesome. And again, so Mommy, give me one of your best success stories.
My best success story.
I mean, so many of them. Give me an example of like someone that came to you that would be a perfect example of what people could expect and how it will impact their life.
Yeah. So I started working with a girl back in January, and she's a fitness coach, and she just built out an app, and she has this membership program. It's awesome. Last month, she just had her biggest month ever. She hit $50,000 in sales. And that was exciting because when she first came in, I think she was at 25. So she's already been able to double it in just a couple months. Yeah.
Wow. And closing message, what would you say to the audience out there in terms of, you as the Mommy Millionaire? I know we know where we should find you, but like, what's the last piece of parting advice to all the moms of the world out there that want to take the next step?
Ooh, that want to take the next step? I think that...
Or that maybe that still have like, there's like that teetering on the fence. What would you say to someone to push them over the fence?
Yeah. I would say that there's never going to be a good time. So the time is now. If you have that idea, if you have any inkling to do something different with your life, don't wait for conditions to be perfect because conditions will never be perfect. There's always going to be an excuse or a reason your imagination will find that you shouldn't be doing it right now. But the time is now. So just
because
jump in.
on the upside, if they can do even nearly as well as all these other people that you've helped, their life can be, infinitely better, right?
Absolutely. I mean, it's just it's never been easier to make money online right now.
True, right?
Right? So why wait?
Why wait? And they can wait. And if you get what did Albert Einstein say? You do the same thing over and over again.
Insanity.
It's insanity, right? And in a situation where they can come and listen to you, it doesn't cost anything to start. They take the first step, and if they do even nearly as well as your other people, they're on a different road, right? More empowered life.
Yep.
You're an inspiration. I really respect you tremendously. And I think everyone, men and women, should just check this out because she's the real deal. She lives it. She works it. She preaches it. And there's nothing more that you could ask. And she's also got natural talent, which doesn't hurt. All right? Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you. Guys, as always, it's been great here on the Wolf's Den podcast. Share this with your friends. Subscribe. Do all the things that will help me make more money. No, I'm just kidding. I like money, but I give value a lot.
Yes.
But everything
own it. Own it.
Own it. I love, as you said, the elephant in the room. I like money.
Yep.
But most importantly, I love giving value and making money, living a great life. Okay, so subscribe, share with your friends, and I'll see you on the next episode. Take care.